oh my God, what if I don't find the right one? What if all the good ones are gone? What if I'm gay and they're not? What if they're gay and I'm not? Who's had those thoughts for how long? Thousands of years, true? So the first step to freeing yourself besides the decision is to anticipate what comes up and to realize it's not you, because as long as you think it's you, there's a fight. And you won't win that fight. Because it's really hard to change yourself, but you don't need to. You just need to change the pattern that you've gotten used to. And the pattern is you're tapping into a certain habit of thinking. And it's common. And you fuckers are not common. So why, listen, if you're gonna be stressed, at least find a unique fucking thought. Don't copy everybody else. And so if you have cable and you turn one channel, it's all horror stories. Another, it's all comedy. Another, it's all romance. This is the channel changer, our bodies. That's why, even though in this gentle room we're gonna meditate and stuff, that's one way to change state. Other ways are radical, strong, physical, verbal, and we need to use them all. The first step is to disassociate it from your identity. Because as long as you think this is your thought, you're fucked. What you really are gonna do when you start to feel the thought, when I start to feel tension, first thing we know is if we only have tension, I'm feeling some stress. That stress means, I'm starting to suffer. What's the thought? And I have to look for it. Sometimes I'll ask her, she goes, I don't know. Okay, take your time. And then we'll find what the thought is. And then as soon as I find that thought, I always remind myself, that's not my what? It's not my thought, it's been around thousands of years, that's a common thought. And so I just watch it kind of float by, and then what do? I trade my stress for appreciation. You're not gonna go from suffering to joy instantly, it's too big a jump, but you can also go from suffering to something you can appreciate. And the minute you start to appreciate, you're no longer focused on obsessing with yourself. Because all of our suffering is obsessing on ourselves. This is not about her. This is about whether or not you're gonna meet your needs. And there's nothing wrong with meeting our needs, but the problem is when you think about all the time, the mind is never satisfied. It's always worried that you're not gonna have enough. It's always looking for what's wrong, and it'll find it. It'll find brown when it's beige. True? You know the metaphor. So what we've got to do is just break the pattern. And the more you break it, the more you go, that's not even my thought. Wow, I wonder how long that thought's been around, and getting curious about it, and then shifting to what's something I can appreciate. How many of you right now could think of 2 or 3 things you could appreciate in this moment about your life, about where you are, about something? How could you do it right now? Say, I. So what we have to do is discipline ourselves to do it in real time.
And one other thing, when we believe a thought, the thought is, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ever gonna find somebody. What it does is it narrows our vision that we just see here, and we don't see, like, love isn't looking to get. Love just gives of itself. It's just this offering. It just wants to give and to serve. And so when we have that thought and we lock it on the person that we want to get out here, it limits our love of how we relate to each other. And we miss all this beautiful love of just actually really deeply connecting because we think that we're missing something.
And the mind always thinks things are missing. It will never not think things are missing. If it doesn't, it'll be for a short moment. He's not noticing all the love that's around him right now. He's focused on one specific thing, a preference he thinks he has. By the way, how many of you had a preference? Like, how many have ever said, I want a relationship? Who's ever thought this? Say I. Who got a relationship and then said, I don't want a relationship? Okay, you got what you thought was your preference and you're fucking wrong, right? So what we really need to understand is that what if whatever's in front of us is to be appreciated? What if everything in front of us was to be nourishment for our hearts, for our souls? What if everything in front of us was a gift? What if even the problem was? You know it is. You know when you look back 10, 20 years later, smart people, and you're all smart, we figure out there was a higher purpose in that. What if you just had the F word that all religions agree on? There's only one F word they all agree on, faith. The power of faith. They all know. What is faith versus fear? You've heard me share this before. What's the difference between faith and fear? Pretty important question. Well, first of all, it's a different life. But what's the difference between faith and fear? They're both imagined. No one knows what the future is. So whether you're fearful about it or whether you're excited about it, it's just your imagination. The only difference is fear is imagination undirected. So weeds grow automatically. If you don't direct it, it will show up in the mind. Faith is you decide to be certain. And what that requires is energy. And so when your energy drops, Andre, then you'll start to feel these thoughts popping in because your channel changer is now on the low level. So you're gonna end up with horror stories or fears or uncertainties. But what I most importantly want you all to get is this is not his thought. You need to get that. Because as long as you think these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, listen to me. How many of you in this room can remember feeling scared out of your mind about something? Who's ever felt this? How many in this room can remember excited out of your mind about something? How many in this room can remember feeling love or anticipation of love? Great. Who experienced those emotions? The emotions changed, but it's still you. If you go to the mirror and you look in the mirror today, is it the same person you saw 10 years ago? 20 years ago? 30 years ago? Is the image the same, yes or no? But what's inside is not changed, it's you. You are not your emotions. We live in a world where people are being taught they should trust their feelings. Are you insane? Your feelings will scare the shit out of you at times. Your feelings will make you angry at times. Trust your emotions? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You need to trust the higher part of you that's more than your emotions. A part of you can witness your emotions, go, look at that crazy emotion I'm having. The more you can witness, the more power you're gonna have. The more you think it's you, the less power you have. You'll just be a reactive little creature who you will not be proud of. And we will all have those moments, but the moment you catch them is like, wait a second. I've been pissed off before, I've been worried, I've been scared, I've been excited, I've been proud, I've been grateful, I've been all these things. So none of those things are me. I'm something more than those emotions. Are we more than our behaviors, yes or no? How many have done you hope no one will ever find out? Right? How many have seen other people do that? What the f***'s wrong with them, right? We all do things when we get in certain states. People are not their behaviors. Can good people be mean?
Yes.
Can mean people be nice?
Yes.
We're not your behaviors. We've all behaved badly. We've all behaved well. Your body isn't, it's not your body. This body's gonna change, but you haven't. You might improve, you might add knowledge or skill or insight or perspective, but the you inside is untouched by all this bullshit. And when you can separate from that, you can start to have freedom. But when you think, I am what I feel, or I am what I think, then you're gonna have all kinds of problems. So this week, it's like just catching it and going, wow, wasn't that a funny little thought? And then instead of being embarrassed, be awestruck, be curious. Like, isn't that a funny little thought? I wonder how long that's been around. Now, what can I appreciate? What can I enjoy? And the more we do that, it's like a muscle, the better it gets.
Welcome to our next story of a woman who was able to step outside of herself to witness her emotions. Emily Garfield has had cancer not once, but twice. The first time when she was just 4 years old. Listen to what happened when she was struggling with stage 3C ovarian cancer later in life.
I was trying to talk to my husband back